Building an AI website with Claude Code is not about asking AI to magically create something and hoping it works. The real skill is knowing how to guide it step by step, so it builds the right structure, writes clean code, fixes problems, and helps you move from an empty folder to a working website. In this video, we're going to break down the practical process: how to set up your project, what to ask Claude Code, how to plan your pages, how to improve the design, how to test everything, and how to avoid the mistakes that make AI-built websites look broken, generic, or unfinished. The goal is simple. By the end, you should understand how to use Claude Code like a real coding assistant, not just a chatbot, and how to turn your idea into a website that actually works. Number 1. Project Setup. First, prepare your environment. Install Claude Code on your machine, for example by running the official install script or using homebrew/winget. You can use the CLI, Claude in a terminal, or the desktop code app. For beginners, the desktop app, Code Mode, is easiest. Just open it and select or create a new empty folder for your project. Work in a dedicated project folder so Claude doesn't touch any unrelated files. When you start Claude Code, it will load your project context and ask for confirmation on edits. You can auto-approve or review changes as you prefer. Now you're ready to tell Claude what website to build. Number 2. Content Planning. Gather and organize the content and structure first. Decide what pages or sections your site needs, for example a home page, an about section, projects or blog posts, and a contact form. Collect any text, images, or data you want included. Being specific helps. Vague prompts lead to generic sites. For instance, if you have existing content, like PDFs or documents, Claude Code can use those to generate site pages. In one example, a user placed book PDFs in a folder and prompted, "Using the books in this folder, create an Astro-based website," which Claude handled end-to-end. Plan your content now, so when you prompt Claude, you can refer to pages or details by name, titles, headings, etc. A clear outline, like page names and what's on each, will avoid confusion later. Number 3. Generate initial site. Now, have Claude create the first draft of the website. Open the project folder and launch Claude Code. In the Code app, pick Code Mode and make sure the folder is selected. In the terminal, you'd run Claude in that folder. Then give a simple prompt describing the site, just like talking to a developer. For example, create a minimal personal website with a navigation bar, hero section, a short bio, project links, and a contact form. Claude will generate files like index.html and styles.css for you. If you use the Code app, you can click Preview. It runs a local web server, so you immediately see the site in a browser. The initial site will include the elements you asked for example, avatar image placeholder, name, bio, links, etc. in a basic layout. This basic version may not look perfect yet, but it gives you a working site to start from. Number 4. Refine design and features. With the basic site in place, polish its design by telling Claude what to change. Rather than editing code by hand, just type natural language requests. For example, you can say, "Add a dark mode toggle in the top right and improve text contrast." Claude will update your CSS and HTML accordingly. You can also set a design system. Mention colors, fonts, or spacing explicitly. For example, use a modern sans serif font and a blue/gray color scheme. Ask Claude to improve visual hierarchy, larger headings, more white space, if the layout feels flat. Add subtle animations for polish, like hover effects on buttons or cards, by saying, "Add smooth hover animations and transitions." Make sure your instructions avoid too much jargon. Simple, clear requests work best. After each change, regenerate or preview again to see updates. Common mistakes to avoid here are being too vague, just "make it look nice" is too broad, or trying to do everything in one step. Tackle one feature at a time for best results. Number 5. Add content and layouts. Now, replace placeholders with your actual content and add any extra sections. If your site has a photo/avatar, drag the image file into Claude's chat, if using the Code app, and say, "Use this image as the avatar." Claude will insert it into the site. Provide your real text. For example, my name is underscore 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 a underscore underscore underscore, and here are links to my projects. Ask for new sections by example. For instance, add a blog section under the project section with a grid of post thumbnails and titles. Claude will generate the HTML/CSS for that blog layout. Keep doing this to build out each part: hero, features, portfolio, footer, etc. Check that navigation links match your sections. If you expect dynamic content, like a contact form, note that static generators can do basic forms, but you might need a separate service for submissions or simple mail to link. Once filled in, your site might now have project links, a blog section, contact form, dark mode, etc. All created without coding each line yourself. This stage is about tailoring the structure to your exact needs. Number 6. Test and debug. Next, test the site thoroughly before going live. Browse the pages in your preview or local server. Resize the window or use device emulation to check mobile responsiveness. Open the browser's Developer Tools console to see any errors or warnings. Claude Code has a Chrome extension, Beta, that can even read the console and network requests for you. If you see an issue, broken image link, missing file, etc., copy the error message or describe it to Claude. For example, fix the missing CSS file error. Often, it will identify and correct the mistake. In one example, a user's site needed a hard refresh after deployment, and Claude suggested just doing that. Keep iterating. If alignment or spacing is off, ask Claude to adjust it. If text is too small, ask to enlarge it. If colors aren't contrasting enough, ask to improve contrast. Use AA color contrast for readability. Also, test interactive parts. Check that buttons link to the right pages, and that any contact form or email link actually works. Fixing bugs here saves headaches later. Number 7. Deploy the site. When the site looks good and works locally, put it online. First, save the project in version control. Claude can help upload to GitHub. If you're using the Code app, just command upload to GitHub and follow prompts. It will guide you to create a new repo and push all files. Alternatively, initialize a Git repo yourself and push to GitHub. Next, choose a hosting platform. For a static site, options like GitHub Pages, Netlify, Vercel, Cloudflare Pages, or Hostinger work well. For example, Hostinger lets you connect your GitHub repo, select the branch, and deploy with a few clicks. Or on Netlify/Vercel, you connect your account, and it auto-builds on every push. Follow the service's steps. Link your GitHub, pick repository and branch, and hit deploy. Within minutes, you'll get a live URL. You can use the provided domain or attach your own. After deploy, visit the URL to make sure everything is live. Check images, styling, links again. Now your AI-built website is public. Congratulations. Number 8. Best practices and tips. A few extra tips to do this right. Keep prompts clear and concrete. Instead of make a landing page, say exactly what sections and styles you want. Build in chunks. Create one component or section at a time. Hero, features, contact, etc., rather than asking for the whole site at once. Always review the generated code. Claude is powerful but not perfect, so verify things like file paths or syntax. Commit often to Git so you have snapshots to go back to. Work in that separate folder. Remember that Claude Code can delete or overwrite files, so never run it in an important system directory. Watch out for security and privacy. Don't include any private API keys or sensitive data in your prompts or code. After deployment, check site performance, optimize images if needed, and accessibility. For example, ensure text contrast meets at least WCAG AA standards, and use alt text on images. You can ask Claude to add alt attributes. If the site uses any server-side pieces, know that static hosts won't handle back-end code. In case of problems, ask Claude or check the official docs and communities. Lastly, experiment and iterate. Claude Code makes it easy to tweak and redeploy, so you can keep improving your site with minimal effort.